Hey guys, today I'm going to review a TV series, and I'm going to kick it off with one of my favorite TV dramas, Breaking Bad. So, without further ado, let's go. Hey guys, so this is it, the series review of Breaking Bad, and we're going to start right here in the first season, which only has 7 episodes in it, very short. Um, so basically, where the show's plot is Bryan Cranston is a chemistry teacher named Walter White who is diagnosed with inoperable lung cancer. Now, in order to pay for the treatment, he basically decides to cook meth, but he doesn't do it alone. He teams up with a former student of his named Jesse Pinkman, played by Aaron Paul. Um, and basically, their skill sets are Jesse's the business, more like the business end, and then Walt would be the amazing cook since he's a chemistry teacher and he knows all about that. And that's mainly the general gist of season one. They run into a bunch of problems once they start selling the product, as any good drug related series goes. So my view on this season definitely has to be the fact that I don't know. I think it's a really strong start for the show, but I think overall it's the weakest. I think probably one of the heaviest in character development, but one of the weakest I'd say for twists and turns. I mean, yes, you do get a general sense of who Heisenberg is by the end of the first season, and what Jesse and him are capable of. But I think as the series progresses, it gets way better. But overall, season one gets a rating of 8 out of 10 for me. Alright, guys, so that was season one, and now we're going to move right along to season two. This is a really good season. The general gist of it is Walt and Jesse are still doing what they need to do, meth-wise anyway. And some more characters are introduced in this season. Bob Odenkirk's character, Saul Goodman, the crooked lawyer, and Gus Free, who is one of the characters that's very strong development-wise later on in the series. This season is, I think, it lacks character development on Walt and Jesse, but it's very heavy on the twists and turns. Because the second season, honestly, it had some moments in it where I was really shocked. So the general gist of it would be that they continue to cook meth and they meet Gus and. They also hire Saul to get him out of a little situation, and Saul is kind of the back burner guy when we're in trouble. Better call Saul, as the show says. From there on, they enter into agreement with Gus to cook meth, and Jesse gets involved with a girl named Jane who tries to ruin it basically for Walt, and Walt wasn't having it, so he let her die. He saw her overdose and let her die. My view on the second season is that it's very. I don't know. It gets you by surprise. I mean, because now you see that by this point, Walt is a kind of character who will stop at nothing to get what he wants. I mean, his sense of morality, he loses it. I mean, he watches Jane overdose. Does he do anything? No, because he sees that if he does, then it doesn't better his situation. If anything, it makes it worse. And he sees. I mean, he sees the light at the end of the tunnel. And nothing's going to stop him from getting there. But season two is definitely a season, definitely worth checking out. Obviously, if you're watching the show, don't stop, keep going, because season two is just the beginning of the amazing twists and turns that are yet to come. But season two for me gets a rating of an 8.5 out of 10. Now we're on to season three. Now, season three is definitely one of my favorite seasons, just because the cliffhanger at the end is so intense that basically by the time you get to season three, I don't think there's a possibility of you not watching Breaking Bad's fourth season. I don't see it. The general gist of the third season would be You've got Walt still cooking for Gus, and it turns into an even bigger agreement. He's willing to pay him $3 million for 3 months of his time, and he gets Jesse in on the operation. But once Jesse starts, messing up, making things hard for Walt by trying to avenge his friend Combo, who was basically helping them on the business end, trying to sell them, and he sold it on someone else's turf, and they killed him. And basically, he tried to get revenge, and Walt had to step in and save him. This put them in a situation where, okay, we know we screwed up. We won't do it again. And Gus is like, yeah, well, money talks. So he hires a guy named Gale, and he uses Gale to basically watch how Walter cooks the meth, so that way he can one day take over the lab without Walt there. And as soon as things get really intense for Gus, he thinks it's about time to cut the cord. So he orders his henchman Mike to go and kill Jesse Pinkman and Walt. Now, once he abducts Walt, Walt gets his little final phone call, in which he instructs Jesse to go and kill Gale. Now, the point of doing this would be so that when they kill Gale, Gus cannot kill Jesse nor Walt, because then who's going to cook the meth as good as them? I gotta say, this season for me, like I said, cliffhanger at the end, so intense. I mean, the build-up, it flows so perfectly. Like, season 1 and 2, like, they have great pacing, but season 3 just flows so well. I mean, going from this bleak tone in season 2 to this, it's kind of it in a sense, it mellows out in season 3. It's kind of a balance of a little bit of gray, but then a little bit of happiness. I mean, you've got things to look forward to. You've got Heisenberg isn't going to die this time. He's too smart for it. Definitely, this one is heavy in character development. Heisenberg is at the top of his game by the end of the 3rd season, and we definitely see what Jesse is capable of by pulling the trigger. And all I can say is season 3, it ends with a bang, and it keeps you wanting more. And I think that's what gives it its 9 out of 10 rating from me. So moving right along, we're going into season 4, another excellent season. I mean, I think that by the from 3 up, I mean, Breaking Bad just gets so intense and everything unfolds. I mean, it's incredible. So season 4, the general gist is, it starts off, of that amazing cliffhanger that 3 left us, and basically Jesse kills Gale. From there on, Gus tries to discipline the two of them, and by making them work separate work details, and basically tries to make them grow apart, and maybe that'll solve his problem. And this is, I call this the all or nothing season, because this season, it's, you got to do what you got to do, and definitely we see that by the end of the season. Mike, is incredible guy, but also we see that he follows orders, and he knows what's best. We also get a little more character development on his behalf with his granddaughter. Saul gets better character development, and I think Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul, both their characters develop a lot in this season. This is a very good season for character development. Again, flows really well. Just as intense as season 3. I mean, by the end of the 4th season, you're like, man, this show is amazing, but honestly, where does it go from here? Season 4 just kind of answers. It answers the questions you have. It answers, okay, well, how does Walt get out of this situation? Heisenberg is capable of so much more, but he's on a leash. How does he get off the leash? Basically, by the end of the season, it's all answered, and it's very smart. It's Heisenbergy. It's he uses his wit to get out of there, and he kills Gus. Which by that point, when it happened, I was like, thank God, because I hated Gus's character. Walt uses Hector Salamanca, Tuco's uncle, basically uses him as a suicide bomb and lets him know, hey, this is the way you can get your revenge right here. This is again the all or nothing point. And it happens, and they kill Gus, and by the end of the season, Walt declares to Skyler that he's won. We totally see why he says it, and we're left with a feeling of relief, but a lingering question at the end of season 4. Where does it go from here? But all in all, terrific season. Just riveting. Freaking Bryan Cranston's explosive. This one definitely earns a 9 on my scale. I mean, jeez. The series finale is this Sunday, which I'm super excited about, and I hope all of you guys tune in for my review on that. Right after I watch the episode and while it's fresh in my mind.